We are back.
Second official live take.
I know. I feel like I'm taller than you. I'm going to drop down. Look at that. Look at that.
I got to get myself up there.
You got to get up. You got to get up so that we're even here. We've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk
do that.
College football.
Yep.
All right. You're a Notre Dame fan. I'm a Buckeyes fan. We share a mutual hatred for Michigan. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a good thing because Michigan is in the news, and Coach Harbaugh and the Wolverines are getting a lot of heat from the NCAA for sign stealing. Okay, big sign stealing scandal, and the NCAA is investigating. The Big Ten coaches are heated. Big call within the Big Ten this week. They want action from the Big Ten. They are really pissed off, and the NCAA is investigating. Harbaugh's acting like it's no big deal. He's doing the I don't recall. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, exactly. It's not me. I don't know. Reminiscent, right, of the Patriots, right? Sign stealing, right? And who was the quarterback for the Patriots?
Tom Brady.
Where did he go to college?
Michigan. Isn't this interesting how this all connects, how it all works together?
Now, here's the look. Now we can talk, sign stealing, and a lot of people may be like, well, okay, how do you steal signs? Because if you watch a game, they're always like covering their mouths and everything, and like it seems like it's very mysterious, and they're doing their best. But when you read a little bit of some of the reporting from ESPN and whatnot, it does sound like there's something going on. Okay, so this assistant coach, Coach Stallions, went to 35 games, and there's a paper trail. Okay, bought tickets. Okay, 17 different stadiums. Okay, over the past 3 years, and that he was paid another dude, another Division III coach, to actually videotape the games, which is illegal. Okay.
Yep.
NCAA says you're not allowed to videotape the games. Some of the coaches are calling this tainted, fraudulent, and unprecedented. Okay. And I think you and I have talked about this. Like this would not be that big of a deal if Michigan was middle of the pack, right? If they were bottom of the barrel. They are currently ranked third, and they have been 33-3 over the course of that period.
Something's working right there. Something's happening on that end.
Yes. So I believe they have suspended this coach, Coach Stallions, which is a great name. Great name, Connor Stallions. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Not even a Michigan man. A guy that went to, I believe it was West Point, or he was in the Navy.
Yeah. So it's really kind of interesting. Like there's not a lot of details out yet in terms of how he was doing, like what was he filming? Because again, like I feel like, much like with the Astros, and they were the banging on the garbage cans or whatever. This stuff that, you really have to plan. You're going to do a full on scheme, like we've got to put time and money into this, which it sounds like that's what they did. There's got to be some real planning to do something like this. You're not just going to throw one coach out there. Hey man, go to a couple games, film some of our opponents, and I'm sure it'll help. This feels right. Like, okay, we've got something here. Film whatever's going on the sideline. We'll match that up with the TV feed. We're going to see what plays they run. We're going to see what's happening on the sideline. We'll match them up. And then when it's third down and we know that they're doing this, and this, whatever their crazy signs are, we know what's happening. Like, again, it sounds like a conspiracy or something, but I don't know, man. What are your thoughts here, Carter?
So I can see you're in the ban the cheaters side of things. And I'm going to first preface this. I hate Michigan. I dated a girl in Toledo.
Oh boy.
She had a Jeep, and I drove up to Michigan's campus pulled down all the windows and blared the Irish fight song. I got the leprechaun. I got the gold. I got the Golden Dome here, and I went to Michigan and I did a proper flip off too.
Wow.
I can't stand Michigan as a Notre Dame fan, and I love to see that they're stuck in this news. But you have to say, in sports, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. If you aren't going for it, if you aren't doing everything that you can do, then what are you doing? You didn't want to win. People are so uber competitive that they want to be able to do this. And I'm not going to lie, it is kind of nice to see Ohio State get beat once in a while too. Doesn't happen very often, so it's good to see Michigan do it. If we can't do it, at least somebody else can.
Why are you throwing shade? Why are you just throwing darts here at Ohio State? You just had to, right?
Just a little. Everybody. We have the two biggest fan bases, so there's a lot of animosity.
Yeah. So look, I'm a Buckeyes fan. I'm not gonna lie, I am slightly biased here, but it's more that I cannot stand Harbaugh and the khakis and his kind of holier than thou behavior more than anything.
The authenticity of him, I didn't know if I liked him in the beginning, and I always thought he was kind of a weird guy, but now I know the type of person that he is, and that there is little integrity to go along with his weirdness, his drinking of his milk, and his determination to just be like, we create Michigan men. So you're essentially saying we create cheaters, and that's
so yes.
A real shame. A real shame.
Oh, yeah. So it seems like nothing is supposed to be done in the immediacy. There's investigations going on. People are angry, but as you know, with the NCAA, literally, it's like by the time anything actually happens, the people who actually did the offense, they have gray hair and they're like 35 and they forgot what actually happened, with anything. So that's why, our question is, should Michigan not be able to play in the college football playoff? That was the question we're asking the live take crowd. And look, I think ban the cheaters. That's my 2 cents.
All right. I say money rules all things in this world. And you know who's going to watch every single game now going forward on Michigan? This is partially the NCAA's best case scenario. They see that there's this cheating, and as a program that is losing all of its control on paying players, on making sure that you can transfer and all these portals, they're just waiting and building the evidence so that in the off season they can strike down something and say, hey, look at us. Look at what we did. We still have the power. We're still going to give it. You want all this autonomy. We're going to take it back. This was perfect for the NCAA. They're going to let this go. They're going to watch the ratings come in. They're going to make their millions, and they're going to laugh all the way to the bank.
Yes. I know you're right. I disagree, but I know you're right. All right. From college. Right? Yeah. So from college football and college coaches, we will transition to college basketball. One of the most famous college basketball coaches ever has passed away. Of course, I'm talking about Bobby Knight, the famous coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, finished his illustrious career with Texas Tech. So Bobby Knight, legendary, one of the winningest coaches in all of college basketball history, 3 national titles at Indiana. 1976, they went undefeated. Nobody else has done that since then. The 81 team had Isaiah Thomas. He also threw a chair during a game, right? And some people, he also strangled a player.
Too.
Okay. He punched a policeman in Puerto Rico.
That's a long
Alleged.
time. I mean, come on.
I mean, look, everybody's got their flaws, but this was a guy who, was not really, he was at IU for roughly, he was at IU for like 30 years roughly. And he was kind of, above the law there. And it's an interesting kind of look at the different times, in 2023 where nothing gets by social media. This was a guy who kind of could do whatever he wanted, could say whatever he wanted, could scream at the kids, physically put his hands on the players. Look, it's been documented. Like the one little anecdote that I had totally forgotten, he headbutted one of his players, Sharon Wilkerson, while screaming at him on the bench. On that, like I had totally forgotten. He like literally was on the bench and then just headbutted him. And it's like, you do that today,
you're done.
Assault charges probably.
Even Izzo, remember how he just like screamed at a guy and it was all over the news for like a month right there. So I did not grow up with Bobby Knight. My coaching tree of seeing the latest one I know is Coach Krzyzewski and seeing Cal and how they've actually transitioned. I don't know if he would have been able to transition in a time like today anymore. And he got his championships. Do we have to blame, the movie Hoosiers? Because he pretty much fulfilled that and lived that. Indiana basketball is a whole other animal. And so another hatred is my parents. They went to Purdue. So to see him win those championships, I do have a little bit of glory in knowing that I haven't had to see Indiana go through the strength and like ability of that. They've been a failing program in the Indiana eyes of things.
Yeah.
So I would say the things that he has done, and they definitely were good for the papers back then. You showed me a few of his quotes, just the craziest and most harmful things that you could do as a person. Not a good guy, but the man who wins some games.
I like how you said, not a good guy. Not a good guy. Well, look, and I kind of told you this when we were off the app. Like, I grew up in Ohio, in Cincinnati, which is kind of a sports crazy town, and we don't have a pro team. So college basketball, it's huge. It's University of Cincinnati. It's Xavier University. There are a lot of people who love University of Kentucky. And then there's a small contingent that just loves IU. And my mother was part of that small contingent. She would have loved for myself, my older brother, to go to IU. She made us read A Season on the Brink, which was the book about Bobby Knight. And so and it's so weird. It's like everyone, it was kind of known. Like, it's not like my mom didn't know that he was throwing chairs or like cursing his players out. And yet here she was, like this very nice woman saying, yeah, go to IU. Like, this is such a great guy. He's such a,
meet him one day.
It's like crazy. She wanted us to go to his basketball camp. And I'm like, my brother and I were like, what? Like, are you crazy? He's like this terrifying, tall, huge dude. Like, we want to go have fun in the summer. Like, are you crazy? Yeah, it's kind of like brings up to me like this idea of like how much we revere or we look at that idea of a college coach, and we kind of look at them as these figures of authority, and they're always coach. They're coach, and even when they retire, they're coach, and we put that mantle of authority and respect on them, regardless of if they're choking someone or they're throwing a chair or they're using quotes like this quote from 1988, if rape is inevitable, relax and enjoy it. Bobby Knight literally said that during a 1988 interview with NBC. Like, so these people, these coaches, they paid millions of dollars to win games. And it's like, should we really give them so much credit and authority and respect throughout their lives? Bob Huggins is another one. Like, these guys who clearly repeat, Rick Pitino, they continually make mistakes. Yeah. Pitino with his, was it prostitutes or strippers? I get it confused. Both? Yeah. Okay. And Bob Huggins, again, from Cincinnati. It feels like it's all coming back to me. I actually went to Bob Huggins' basketball camp. Bob Huggins just got fired from West Virginia for, more. Yeah. So I'm curious.
So I'm a Catholic. I'm like, hey, get out of here. You weren't that good anyway.
So what are your thoughts? Kind of like, do we give coaches too much leeway? Do we give them too much respect when they're really, what they're doing is they're kind of mold. They have four or sometimes 5 years to really to mold, to be around these young kids and be role models.
That's a very good question. And I think that NCAA basketball is actually one of those sports where coaches are there with the longest leashes. You do have these guys that have been there for 20, 30 years. And if they have a culture of winning, they hold on to that until it's completely gone. Yeah. And it's really tough to see because college is a mentorship area. When you go to the professionals, you're not being a mentor. They're living their lives. They're going about it. If you have a guy that's going in there and teaching you how to be a man, and time again, there's a lack of respect. There's a lack of unity. There's a lack of the school that they're going to. Would they stand by those core values? It's almost as if these universities and these people are just holding their breath because it works.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, with the Harbaugh situation, the same thing is happening now. I tell you what, if he goes 4-8 next year, they'll be the loudest university and being like, this does not work. This does not stand by our values. It's a hard thing. But yeah, what did Al Davis said like, just win, baby, right?
Just win, baby. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're always, all these coaches, like, whether it's Saban or, Roy Williams or whoever, Tom Izzo, they're the highest paid employees, public employees in their state, right? They're always, and because kids go to those schools, because of these teams, right? Like they're the biggest money makers in the schools, and you have alumni who come back and they give money to the school because of the basketball team, because of the football team. So I get it. But like, to your point, like parents are putting these kids in these situations with the hopes that they're going to learn more than just how to put a ball in a hoop, how to throw a football and get it to the guy for touchdown and 80,000 folks go crazy. They're hoping that they're going to learn to be a better person, that they're going to learn to not, and so many times we read the horror stories, whether it's at Michigan State or whether, it's at Baylor, these kind of horror stories where things go awry. And, when I look at Bobby Knight and his career, sure, you got plenty of people like Dan Dakich or Steve Alford or Coach K. Coach K didn't go to Indiana, but he's kind of part of that coaching tree when I believe that he was under Bobby at Army. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of people who will sing his praises, but I would be very curious to look at the totality of the folks who played for him and who dealt with that screaming and yelling and what they had to say, what they have to say now, looking back. Was it worth it?
I think in the interim, people want to take it and just say, hey, we won. We got this. We figured it out. But when you look at the idea of a whole program in university, I'm not going to lie. When Brian Kelly left, I said, Urban Meyer would be a good addition. I would figure that out. But, you have to stand and live by something. So, yes, money does walk and talk, but, we're trying to fix things here. So, well, we're still in that period of fluctuation.
But, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. So we got 15 seconds left. Vote on the Michigan Wolverines. Ban the cheaters, or
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you next time.
Live take.